Sepik River snakes its way through Papua New Guinea, pouring life into the landscape. It's the main artery of one of the most pristine freshwater basins on the planet.
The river, the lake, and the forest, they're all connected. It's the lifeblood of the people.
There's wildlife here you won't find anywhere else on Earth. Rainforests as far as the eye can see, and 50,000 years of living culture. Some call it the second Amazon. But like the Amazon, the Sepik has become a battleground. PNG is the world's largest exporter of tropical round logs. In the Sepik, it's big business.
So what do you see when you walk around these logs?
I see a lot of money.
And the plan for a huge mine and hydroelectric dam is dividing Sepik people from the mountains to the sea.
That little cap there, that's where they're going to put that dam. Put it in the mountains and then flood back this way.
People making pinka lo you. You must not want to pay a moro to give
People here want development, but they also want to protect the environment that sustains them and their culture. Can they trust the logging companies, the miners or the government? There's a battle shaping up on these waters.
Time is a bar of company on them. That's a worry, let's send them to sister.
I'm waiting for a plane that will take us deep into the jungle. When I started as the correspondent here, I heard stories of conflict in the far reaches of the Sepik. A controversial mine proposal, claims of a logging land grab, police brutality, even killings. But people didn't want to go on record. Since then, my colleague Tekla and I have tried to get first-hand accounts, but it's tough. Communications upriver are patchy at best. Now, we've finally got a way in. We've made contact with a local landowner called Luke Amiel. He's encouraged us to come and see for ourselves. We're not sure what to expect. All we've got is Luke's phone number and a mark on the map for the Adwaki airstrip. It looks like we've got a welcome party. The last plane that landed here was months ago.
Morning, Chuagetta. Morning.
There's no sign of Luke, but these people are going to take us to him.
Look, come look, where's Blue? I'm very excited. Thank you, True. Gonna get burnt. I'm not built for PNG sun.
It's about an hour and a half's walk from the airstrip to the banks of the Yellow River, where we're told we'll continue our journey by canoe.
You really do feel cut off out here. This is one of the most underdeveloped parts of Papua New Guinea. There are no roads in or out. Communications are very minimal. Services are all but non-existent. It is incredibly isolated, and you get the sense that if you wanted to get away with something out here, you probably could.
This is the heart of the Upper Sepik Basin, an untamed wilderness of marshlands, waterways, and hundreds of species of trees. But it's giants like these that are most prized by the loggers.
We're on the Yellow River, which is one of the tributaries that feeds into the mighty Sepik. It's also the western boundary of a massive and controversial logging area. Around a bend in the river, we find Luke. Hey, Luke. For over 10 years, Luke's been a thorn in the side of the logging operations here. Luke, Natalie. He says he never gave consent for logging and he wants it to stop. Luke claims the company brings police here and he says they intimidate landowners who oppose the logging.
Me no like logging. Logging activities embarrass more environments. Company na policy abuse him. Human rights plan a welfare plan background layer.
Luke's gone to the authorities and his local MP, but he says they're not listening. Now he's rallied landowners for a meeting with a law firm from Port Moresby, hoping their claims will finally be heard.
Crown blue. All car machine come inside. Now I'm more ripping you to go out the country blown. Skin peak or katina giving you. Meat la hapus a molkeke. You want to Kali?
The landowners have gathered here at Yellow River High School. Some have walked for 5 days.
Because me blow in China, thingy. Now all is the line. How only come resources you mean, all LB you mean?
Environmental lawyer Arthur Dahlia and his team travelled 2 days by road and river to be here. Luke's complaint convinced them to come. They're here to see who else will step forward.
Me like you must fight one big plan, lol.
Thank you, Trulo Luke. You want them all boys play on the ground. People are facilitating this land. People are coming said, safe na come out of place. Thank you.
Arthur works for Cellcore, the Centre for Environmental Law and Community Rights, an NGO that represents traditional landowners.
People identify more potential, plaintiff. If it means by me go to court na this lagain. People can sanap na tok tulo this time. People can arim. I'm alright. I'm alright.
Can I say me on the Journeyman? Now me never gonna sign the market. I have Jiblomino. And not the man gonna market more so many sign him agreement. So Papa Ground to Logat. Police can't point to you give him set up. Logat pay Logat lo container. Policeman come na suti manatin na kon ba evidence. Through the prostration project him stop finish. Why not starting policeman make him so many years ago finish. Me block change the people will pay finish. Now all this time. Cross come on kill. Come on gonna stop mo. Suppose come on stop it. Me to share ibla. All ma glumi stop it sell you. Me wait stop. Pagla kemba pa. Ibla rim kill. Kemba pa. Suppose come on stop kemba pa. Now she talk about this got. Me talk about it got.
Trouble here goes back more than a decade to when the Malaysian logging company Global Elite was granted access to more than 100,000 hectares of customary land. The company told us it obtained legal consent. The type of lease it was given, called an SABL, is not a logging lease. Cutting down trees is only allowed to clear the land for agriculture. The company says it had plans for rubber and palm oil, but they went up in smoke when landowners burnt down the nurseries.
What we've been seeing is most logging companies are using that SABL under the Land Act to conduct logging operations. And it's for a period of 99 years. I imagine that's about 3 generations. And landowners, they will become spectators in their own land for 99 years.
To get the SABL, the company had to detail how their project would benefit the area. They committed to improve health services and schools and build new roads. But locals say they haven't seen that here at Yellow River.
School, primary schools, elementary schools, since 10 years now. 10 years in operation is stopped. Now looking along some lobbies play blah. Emi biani maybe na wari blomi blah. Papa ground, mama ground was a place them carrying go. Every now we see him not in him like go. Cry blomi blah. Who said through Berasa I were blomi blah now.
Yes, right.
That's all. Thank you.
This is clearly a very unhappy community. There's been a lot of emotion on show in this meeting, a lot of anger, a lot of upset. There's been allegations of people not getting what they believe they're owed. There's also been a lot of allegations about police working for logging companies and abusing landowners.
Luke has his own story of police violence.
Porque all kita wisket plemi tit plemi mouse plemi mixing big la pagrap. La life plemi risk. All budi kan bon mi all exage mi punan all pushi mi punan but mi only mine. Mi toke mol mi no criminal. All loki me lo kontana le mori 1 week.
Because all been open fire na bullet kisi mall community na sa impla market.
Landowner Narox Nanaro tells us a policeman brought in from Port Moresby shot into the crowd during an argument.
Second man, I'm kissing the man paralyzed in cribble house. That man, I'm kissing the thumb again.
The crowd retaliated and killed the policeman. It was Narox's brother-in-law who was shot dead, a father of 4 young children. We've confirmed that Global Elite has been bringing officers in and paying for their food and accommodation. The company says it has an arrangement with PNG Police and it denies they're intimidating landowners. But we've been able to get a hold of the police commissioner and he tells us he's banned deployments that support logging operations. He says the officer involved in the shooting should never have been here and he wants anyone with a complaint to come to him. We've also seen a confidential report from PNG Defence that backs up claims of police using a shipping container as a jail cell and that warns logging companies are, quote, using police to bulldoze over the rights of landowners.
Imagine police doing that to the people who they are supposed to protect. Instead, they are protecting foreign interests, abusing or violating the people's rights, constitutional right. That's how these people are being treated by the police force, their own police.
Armed with what they've heard from the meeting, Arthur and his team press on with the mission. They want to see some active logging. So do we. We're heading downstream to meet with a landowner called David Vanimo. Although no one at the meeting spoke up for the company, there are people who've consented to the logging and are benefiting from it. David is one of them. He's invited Arthur to see the operation.
So masin cutting poko ta tamlo finish.
Bukan kau finish, kusti bakal nasi bikin. Ini ada selalu mesin gua keluar emot.
Okay, so go block by block ah.
Yeah, kau block by block. So anon bapa kerana selesai ni konsen, konsen ada block nak kati diwai kamu out.
The company says it has the proper landowner consents, but Arthur is investigating to see if they're following the rules.
Land is communally owned. It's not owned by just one single person. So consent basically has to come from everyone. And the company is doing the total opposite by just getting individual consent forms from the people, and that's how they go in and cut trees.
So, okay, 40,240. This is the log number 40,247. So these are the
So this is more than 4,000 logs cut.
more than 40,000 logs cut from this FC already.
So this fella DY, Emmy belong low place below you.
Like simpinis money nem no diwaya mo setelahan block company now.
David says Global Elite pays him 150 kina a fortnight, about $60 Australian.
Mika tu pela meri, na mika tait pela pikni ni. Terus school fee all nar pela triple all 150 la 1 pikni ni. So misa pem la 1 fortnight la school fee la so 1 la fortnight ni pem la nar pela pikni la fortnight ni pem la nar pela pikni. Mipla dislam mipla waring mipla ting parabim maring resources masani lawaran environment pagarap planti something nem pagarap inis system lo all people to mena senis na you mistap la nara plus system na you mistala money.
We say goodbye to David and continue downstream.
So we're just coming up to the Sepik River. This is where the two rivers join.
The engine cuts out, and suddenly I'm struck by the serenity of the river and how lucky we are to be here. Then the motor kicks back in and we're on our way again. We're going to Global Elite's port at Elamuli, where the logs from Yellow River are loaded onto the barges and transported down the Sepik. It's the last stop on Arthur's journey.
This is the log one. This is Elamuli.
These logs will be sent overseas, mostly to China, where they'll be milled into things like floorboards.
So what do you see when you walk around these logs?
I see a lot of money, but I've been to the villages where these logs come from to see things like that. I am sad and I feel for them, so I will try as much as possible with my team and the organization. We will see how we can assist them in our capacity. People are missing out.
It's time to leave Arthur and take to the skies. We're in safe hands. I've flown with the pilot, Jan, before. The chopper is the only way we can get to our next stop, Armour, in the mountains on the other side of the river. Global Elite and one of its partner companies have logged here too. But in the last few years, they've come up against one of the most powerful men in the Sepik.
Mr. Wapanai.
Recently re-elected MP, Johnson Wapunai.
Mr. Wapanai.
Thank you.
After winning another term, Mr. Wapunai is back in the community that raised him, spruiking his credentials as the man who stands up to the loggers.
Somebody needs to tell us what they need to invest after they harvest the log. That has never happened, so I wouldn't allow you to go move beyond where you started. So that's what happened. So they're going to go beyond. I've been elected the second time and I'm still in power for the next 5 years. They will not push me over.
In the afterglow of re-election, Mr. Wapunai is riding high. But there's pressure on him to deliver.
Straight to feet, I got you.
His electorate is huge, stretching over 1 million hectares from Armour to the top of the Freda River, one of the Sepik's major tributaries. It's the proposed site for a giant gold and copper mine and hydroelectric dam called the Freda River Project.
That little cap there, that's where they're going to build a dam in these mountains and then flood back this way.
Welcome to Freda Airstrip, guys.
Above these houses is a towering escarpment. That's where the dam is planned, designed to store over 1 billion tonnes of mine waste. That means a wall of concrete from that cliff to the mountain opposite. This area is vulnerable to earthquakes, and people against the project say a dam break would be catastrophic. But the developer is assuring people that keeping them safe is their top priority. Australian-based, Chinese-owned Panost says it's a nation-building opportunity worth $11 billion, with royalties and benefits for local landowners.
Majority in the area, they want to develop place. They want the mine to come in so that they at least can get the spin-offs and do what they want to do. For me, I'm more on neutral ground.
In the shadow of the proposed dam wall is the community of Paupe. The landowners here are known as the Payamo.
Pastor Jacob.
Hello.
We meet elders, Pastor Jacob and Rhonda Ayapani. Their father signed the original exploration permit back in 1964 that uncovered vast reserves of gold and copper. Now, the application to start mining is in play. They want to make sure they get their share.
Prita man masiko hate. Ibu anpera. Prita man masiko hate. People something Kapman Pacific mas look sapalo. Siratin Payamo tribe. I'm heavy. People making pick up lo you. You must not want to Payamo lo take him sala.
There's been disagreement over who the primary landowners are, and the Payamo are calling on Johnson Wapunai to make sure they're properly recognised.
Na me talking Johnson. Me pula puskan ke lain. Na me no mas tu. Pero me tocó esse caminho com esse louco.
Bila tok tengok di blok kata, online beri bela here, we sering sim casting word lemi, now number 2 time we win kan, terus kata lah siapa dia lagi me, misal we plus kata lagi me, and we bela politik yang mesti wasim. Papua New Guinea memang lebih country. Ini people tu mas.
Mine, mine auto corine mine natin. Mi plus tarigri kaya rasla. Frida mine am kam starting ya. Igo na bla kam big plan married. Now begin ni bla ken married. Now karim begin now bla ka wal tumbuna. Na mika 25 lah tumbuna. Na mista. Pero aliko sa main mas kamab na. Bibla mas lukim na people ang pratay. Tatay main kami sa mas kaba borsem. All white man yet okay northsem na you guys stop. Because what I make him a good house, good apartment, good something. Pai silip kira blongem was. Oh, you walk about. Pai busy la sanap rock. Karablo kalo, sanap lo past of like finish. Because of in round taso di go come na silip and kind or some stuck in. Let them come up.
What mi film time you on top lo Sepik water?
Time run until Sepik mi pilih masa mama belum istrem look out to me. Na give me kai, give me wara so me can drink that wara. Me na pain sick.
Everything comes from the river.
Yeah.
I'm on the middle Sepik, about 200 kilometres downstream from Pohnpei, with a crocodile and local elder Matilda Pinga. She worries what could happen if the Frida River project goes ahead.
Oh, got a waste plan bagal silimob na ground na balawol. Na badis la kain ground na bamda na blocking garden. Or something badai.
Clans from the area are gathering at Corrigu village for a celebration of the traditional food and culture of the area. Corrigu traditional owner and activist Emmanuel Penny leads an NGO that campaigns against the Frida River project.
I'm legally request as on Mibla talk. Mibla like independent body ba walk about one to Yubla na Yubla go law. Village to village, community to community na Yubla walking FP can.
PNG has a terrible history of environmental destruction from mining projects. And Emmanuel says that means there's a real lack of trust.
People there, of course, want to see development. But what these people forget is that all the rubbish and all the pollution, all the destruction would be carried by the people along the Sepik River.
Me go chat la round wara sa me free. Mr. La freedom blooming. So missing out all me ribla kam. Me bla kaya boy mo sa kain ke story tingi me bla kere daw na me bla la po chat stuff. Me worry loss about me losing. Sinan silip bla me. La go la no bla life. Time bla losing na. Time di sa baharap kampanye mi golon na ma. Time di sa mi sa worry let sa lam sa stuff.
We always get this where people just say, you NGOs are always complaining about this and you don't understand economics. And so what do you have to give to the people if you're going to say no, no, no? What people fail to see is that we actually do understand economics because we understand sustainable development from our Papua New Guinean heritage. Look at this. This is sustainable development. We've been able to thrive. We've been able to live. We've been able to sing and dance and be happy and be content with life and still have all of this. We have been doing this for more than 50,000 years.